Hey, boys and girls, are you back?
I am back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All
So,
right.
yeah. Today's thumbnail depicts where I'm at. So,
A sad raccoon.
I need therapy. Yeah, and look what's happening outside the window. I mean, look what these fucking crazy people are doing. It's
That's
just like,
that's America.
yeah, and it just keeps coming. This morning, I had good intentions of getting up and doing some work, and then I ended up listening to a little bit of Michael Levin, a prominent, really brilliant biologist who's working on bioelectric fields. That was his big deal, I think, back in 2018, something like that.
Yeah, you
Came
sent
up with some,
some sort of thumbnail or something of a thread mentioning it, but I didn't quite know what to make of it.
yeah. So he was on Lex, what's his name? Lex Fridman's channel, and he was going on about all kinds of fucking bullshit that he usually goes on about. And my comment was that I think he got Dennis Noble disease. He got a tad. He must have been in a conference with Dennis Noble, and he caught whatever Dennis Noble has. And this disease manifests itself as doing really good science, for your entire career, and then going on YouTube and starting to talk about teleology and knowledge and how cells know and morphogenetic patterns and all sorts of witchy, crappy bullshit, right? That the creationists just jump on. I mean, all of these anti-naturalists will just jump on it, and Michael Levin keeps doing it over and over. He's doing it more and more every day. To the where he's getting into this. I don't know. He never. I mean, when they nail him down on it, he only talks about natural things, right? And but he just keeps going on and saying all this crazy crap. I just don't know. I
Well,
wonder if I
I
have
don't
an
know.
example. Oh, here we go. Is it different gene expressions? Let me see here. Different gene expression.
I wonder how
Yeah,
much pressure
unfortunately,
gets put on them by the ID and creationist communities.
I don't think any. These guys, I don't think they're in that same sphere. And his peers, have said a little bit about him, but they're very polite because he's done some really great research in bioelectric fields and morphogenesis, and he uses drugs to alter drugs, and I think microscopy and surgical techniques. He created these little Autobots right out of skin cells from a frog, and
Autobots?
he calls them Xenobots. Xenobots. They actually he took like some frog skin cells and we launched them off on their own, and they grew flagella and started swimming around and behaving like bacteria. Like they had some sort of new purpose in life.
Interesting.
And yeah, and he was like, "Oh my God, they're so intelligent." And then the other thing he does is if you interfere with it, like okay, if a limb is developing and you put up a barrier and it starts going way off track in its development, like you inject some sort of drug or stop it, and then you take the barrier away, it seems to find a workaround, which is not the usual path, but it finds a workaround and goes ahead and generates a leg anyway. Not always in the right place, but it goes ahead and does it anyway. So he says, "Oh, there's this memory that it has," and he starts talking about memory and intention. And then when Lex Fridman brought up will, uh, Michael Levin said, "Oh no, I don't have any research on that," is how he put it, instead of saying, "No, that's bullshit." So I don't know how to approach this subject other than well, I could play a little clip here and see what my problem is with him. But I mean, I just wish he'd shut the fuck up. Just and then and then I went back to Rebecca with Cornelius Hunter talking about consciousness, and I need help, Scott. I feel like I'm a puppet, and they're pulling the strings. And every time I watch a YouTube video, a new string gets pulled. I think I need to shut it off. I think YouTube is committing suicide. I think YouTube is killing itself. It's amazing. Now now these people are just plugging the channels with all of these history and movie stuff and science stuff, and it's all AI generated entirely, right? And they're putting them out left and right. And they're all getting, 25, 30K views. And some of them even more than that, just based on the title. And YouTube is apparently paying out money for all these channels that, and I found one the other day that just had 35 subscribers. He just got started with his AI stuff, and he's putting out content that would rival ours quite a bit. And but you could tell it was AI generated because AI doesn't pronounce words right? I mean, occasionally it'll fuck up, and you can tell it's just like, okay, this is AI. And there are other ways you can tell. They show pictures that aren't the pictures of the subjects that they're talking about. They're just kind of random bullshit they're getting off somewhere else, and that's kind of a crazy development. And I don't think, if they're paying money for all of these things, I guess they're getting their advertising revenue. But I think there's a bubble that's going to pop there pretty quick. I don't know.
I think,
you know what I mean?
I've seen several videos where they'll do that thing where you can kind of turn a photograph into a AI video, and then I've seen them do that with a few of these, cops called because a black person is sitting in Starbucks or something like that.
Yeah,
and they act out the whole thing, and I start to realize this was just an AI representation of the event, and the person they're showing in the photos sitting at the table could be anybody, and then
right.
You will see them or hear them reading or reciting whatever they're supposed to recite, and then you can tell that on the page there was a continuation, like with a dash and a continuation to the next line, because they stop at that continuation. There's a pause, and they finish the last half of the word, and just little things like that.
The enshittification of things.
Yeah, I saw that on a Adam Conover video. I wonder if that's a new word coming around.
No, I don't know. I thought Laborious Creed, and I'm going to credit them for it. Rage bait. Yeah, rage bait is another thing. And I was like, I was talking to my friend this morning, and I told him that, I found Jesus, and I'm going to start this church, basically, and talk about how Jesus hates vaccines. And and I think I'd make a little money at it. I could make a little money at it, because I ain't making nothing doing this shit. I ain't getting no views. I ain't making no money. And if I put up some bullshit,
he doesn't like vaccines, and he wants to sell you the best supplements that you can take to prevent disease.
Yeah.
That quote unquote support your immune system.
Yeah, the ridiculous thing is, in about a year or so, YouTube is going to find our talking what we just said, and it's going to think we're like anti-vaxxers, and it's going to take this video.
Yeah,
they've done that to two of my videos where we were making fun of anti-vaxxers, and they totally misread it. They totally got the wrong message from it, and they took my videos down, and there was no way to appeal it. I tried one of their appeal things, and it was just a bullshit process, and it's like, so I don't know. I'm a little. And the other thing, I have so many projects, right? And every one of these videos launches me on a new project, like Michael Levin, right? And somebody else has to start doing this work, more work. We need more workers. We need more people doing, like individual people that will dig into one particular kind of science. Like you mentioned radiometric dating this morning.
Yeah.
And if we had some good physicists got together and just fucking slam that, that would just kill young Earth creationists. Right.
Well, I mean, there's there's some really good content out there about radiometric dating, like on Guts Gibbons' channel. Anytime, I can't remember his last name, but his first name is John. He's a geologist of some sort, and he has done extensive presentations about radiometric dating. But I think more and more people need to put good content out there, even if they're just pointing to the really good material from the professionals.
You got a link for that? Because the
No,
way
not right
people are
now.
going to, okay, the way when you get one, we should make sure that people go there and listen to this stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe we want to listen to it and digest it to the point where we just got to get the word out there. It's just, I don't know. Anyway, I was just going to play a little bit of this. Seemed okay, but push. Yeah, I don't know about Levin. Like a couple of times he was like sliding over into some sort of idealism, religious bullshit. And I don't think he wanted to go there because he's definitely, I'm pretty sure he's a naturalist. And all of his work is just nature. But I have a problem with the way he's portraying himself. And Dennis Noble does the very same thing. And this provides cherry-picked clickbait quotes for creationists, and that's what's going on. And we'll see a little bit of it. I've got 2 different videos where I can show you real good examples of how this works. So anyway, let me play this little part here. I think I got the right part. I hope so.
I'm specifically telling you that model is totally insufficient to grasp what's actually going on. What's actually going on, and there have been many, many experiments.
He's talking about the game of life and how the game of life shows that complexity can develop from some very simple rules. They gave it, like 3 or 4 different rules, and they end up with all these really complex little monsters being created, right? And he's saying it's totally insufficient.
On this is that the system is navigating a space. It is navigating a space of anatomical possibilities. If you try to block where it's going, it will try to get around you. If you try to challenge it with things it's never seen before, it will try to come up with a solution. If you really defeat its ability to do that, which you can, they're not infinitely intelligent, so you can defeat them. You will either get birth defects or you will get creative problem solving, such as what you're seeing here with Xenobots and Anthrobots. If you can't be a human, you'll find another way to be in. You can be an Anthrobot, for example, or you'll be something else.
Just to clarify, what's the difference between cellular automata type of action where you're just responding to your local environment and creating some kind of complex behavior?
Anyway, well, I guess that's a good
behavior
question.
And operating in the space of anatomical possibilities.
Sure.
So there's a kind of goal, I guess you articulate.
Yes.
There is some kind
Yes.
of thing. There's a will to X something.
The will thing, let's put that aside, because that's it. Well, it's fine.
There I go, anthropomorphize. I just always love to quote Nietzsche. So
yeah. And I'm not saying.
Yeah, they've both been anthropomorphizing. Like when he was talking about the cell, and the intelligence. Well, it's not that intelligent and whatever. And they're just doing this shit constantly, and it's kind of making me crazy. What happened to my iPad, man? My iPad battery's not working, and I got it plugged into my Mac. What do you think's going on? I think this is also a problem. Anyway, okay, so Michael Levin's big thing is that he found these bioelectric fields in developing organisms. It's called morphogenesis, when cells, branch out and they differentiate and they become something else. And he's talking about bioelectric fields. Basically, there's which is basically a gradient of ions inside and outside of the cells, and they create these various fields. And he's been able to alter them. I don't. He probably used electrodes, and he probably used chemicals, and he made modifications, and he separated the cells, and they did something else, and we found out that there are bioelectric fields, but they knew that in like 1920 they started doing these experiments. And so what the hell is he talking about? Well, when he first came out with his research, the way he worded his first paper, he got a lot of pushback, and I think people tried to put egg on his face. And it turned out that he was, he really has done some really remarkable laboratory work, and he has recovered his reputation, and people leave him alone now. But now I think he's still maybe butthurt, and he's pushing back on everything. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, what are you gonna do?
So what's the guy's on the screen's name again? Is that Levin, you said?
Michael Levin, yeah.
Michael Levin, okay.
Yeah, he came out. Well, John Maddox loved him, and I think Standing for Truth were hot on him back in like 2018 or something like that, or 2012. Yeah, it was about 2018, I think, that they discovered him. But he says something interesting here. He's talking about how these cells, they go off and they kind of do their own thing, right? And they do this like really strange thing, and they show this intelligence. It becomes something else. And he says it right here.
It has.
Okay, let me preface this a little bit. The idea is Richard Dawkins talks about, the gene-centric view of life. That DNA is central, and that's what the big fight in biology is now, is how much credit we give to DNA, for creating things. And it's one of those things that are like, oh, junk DNA or 100% functional. It's like a false dichotomy sort of thing. And so this DNA centric view is what they're pushing back on. But then he goes ahead and says this.
Against the water, and then the thing starts to move and has all kinds of amazing properties. It has different gene expression, so it has its own novel.
Right there. Different gene expression. So these cells behave differently, but they have different gene expression. But we're going to say that, the DNA doesn't matter. We're going to push back on this idea that DNA is dominant. It's like you just said it. Different gene expression means that a different part of the DNA is expressing itself, and that's fucking DNA. So what is he doing? You see my problem?
I see your problem. He's probably just looking for people to listen to him, and he's adjusting what he says to that.
Yeah, I don't know. And like he's been doing a whole lot of whole hell of a lot of preaching on the internet. So he's getting, he's popular, right? So, which, if it happened to me, I guess I'd be blathering my bullshit all over the place too.
Yeah.
People kept having me on, right? Whatever works. My newfound Jesus friend, he believes in potato chips. You should eat potato chips. That's what Jesus says. So if I get invited on podcasts and preaching that, I'm going to keep doing that, right? I'm going to keep preaching that, in spite of any evidence to the contrary. And I don't think you can come up with evidence to the contrary, because were you there? Did you know Jesus? Did you know that he didn't like potato chips?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that, did you? No. Anyway, yeah. So
okay, I found a video with Gutsick Gibbon and Jonathan Baker, and he's that guy. And here's a link to a blog of his. So I'll put all that in the private chat for you to put on the description.
Okay. Okay, good. And that's on radiometric dating, right?
Yeah. But, something we can put out there for people to educate themselves.
I'm awaiting. I pinned the link, too, if anybody wants to come in and lament with us. I'm basically lamenting because I woke up in the morning and I wanted to work on my gene project, which I think is probably the most valuable thing I could be doing right now. And I end up in all these side tracks every day, and it kind of drives me crazy.
You think maybe you're burning out of the genetic stuff and need to take a break from it for a while?
Well, no, actually, that usually makes me happier than this stuff does. I think I'm burning out on this stuff. I think I'm. I think it's almost terminal. Oh, I don't know. No, I don't think it's ever terminal. So, who knows? Okay, so if I just copy that, I don't think that link will work. So I have to open the link in a new tab, and then copy. Oh, let me go ahead and copy. Maybe that will work. Okay. Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? Okay, I'm about to do something else. Something else. Oh, we could do something else. We could do that. We could do that. Let's see. Okay. Oh, the Jonathan Baker blog. Okay, I got it.
Also, I put a link to a 2021 video where she had a discussion with Jonathan, although he's been back to her channel many times since, and probably a few times before that.
Okay, and I'll put this Michael Levin. I'll put the Michael Levin video in, which I forgot to do, and because we referenced it, we will have to do that. Copy video URL. Blah blah blah.
Now, the reason why we're doing the radiometric dating stuff is because I've just got it in my head that maybe we need to do a few videos about radiometric dating and why it's reliable and why the alternative dating method of estimating the age of the Earth based on Bible passages is kind of wonky, and you shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Not to be all highfalutin, but I'm just thinking that's a bad thing to do.
Yeah, well, Bible is a science book, you know. So most
it is.
Bible,
I changed everything.
It's the first book you want to read. If you're going to be reading science, you may as well just get that out of the way right away, because that's Science 101, according to these guys. Let's see, where's the one I want? The bookmark I want.
Okay, you also have now a link in the private chat of Jonathan Baker's website. Or I'm sorry, YouTube channel.
You keep me busy here, Scott.
I know. Keep you busy, so keep your mind off of how perturbed you feel.
How perturbed I am. I guess I'm perturbed with myself because I have too many goddamn projects, and I'm really old, you know. And I got to get something done here pretty quick, you know.
Like, I keep passing by these store windows and things, and keep seeing this really white-haired guy in the mirror, in the reflection. I look around and I can't find him anywhere.
I know. Who is he?
I don't know.
I see him all the time too. Don't know who he is. Yeah. So now I got another video. I got a link in the description. Let me put that in before I get started with it. My favorite people, Rebecca and Cornelius Hunter. They are really, really dear to my heart right now.
I love all the Dr. Dan creation myth videos where he's taking apart Cornelius Hunter.
Yeah.
And his arguments remind me a lot of that other guy. Who was it
Terry, what the hell was his name? Mortensen or something?
Yeah, Terry Mortensen.
We did the other day.
I need to send him an email to Dr. Dan to ask if he's ever heard of that guy.
Yeah, he was on with Eric Hovind, and with that Eric Hovind video, all I had to do is mention Hovind in the title, and we got over 300 views on that one. And we don't get anywhere near that if we do any other kind of content.
Well, what we need
that
to
also
do
kind of pisses me off.
Put Hovind in the title of every video we do somehow.
Yeah, we should.
Even if it's not related. Like,
yeah,
Hovind will love this title. or this channel.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I can tell by the number of likes and how they played out basically that there were a lot, mostly atheists looked at it, but a few creationists stopped in and they hated it a lot, so they give it a dislike. So anyway, where are you? Where are you? Theater mode. Fayatar. Okay. I just wanted to play this a little bit from Cornelius Hunter on Rebecca's channel. His latest thing, the bees that refute evolution. He's got a whole alphabet of the bees. But these are the bees. Vision and viruses defeat evolution. And Dr. Dan has done some really good work on the viruses.
Religion drives science, and it matters. It's all religious. This is all theological. These viruses and the vision refute evolutionary theory.
Okay, I want you to watch Rebecca's face. Okay, he's saying science is just all religion.
From an objective scientific perspective, today's science, objectively interpreted, if somebody dropped Mars and didn't have theology driving him, it would be just totally obvious. Just like no brainer.
Do you kind of feel
this theory doesn't work? I'm not a
Do you kind of feel an argument from antiquity here? Today's science is just religion. Old-timey science wasn't religion. That's back when they believed in God.
Yeah, but these two are like just nodding at each other and smiling at each other. And what they're saying is that their idea isn't religion, but our idea is religion. But like their idea is, let's look at the scientific evidence, right? And don't tell me they're not doing that, because that Rebecca does that at every stage, and he does too. It's like, if we look at the evidence, it'll be out. Like he just said, if Martians come here and look at the evidence, they'll say, "Oh, it's obvious that it was God," or that it wasn't. Well, he goes on. The other thing he does, and Dr. Dan did a little short video on this, is he refuses to admit he's an intelligent designer, God-believing, whatever. And let's listen to this.
Against evolution. If evolutionary theory turned out to be true, if a paper was written tomorrow, all these problems were solved, that would be very interesting to me. I wouldn't have a problem with it, some theological, religious, metaphysical problem. I'm fine. I kind of laugh at it. I mean, it really doesn't make a difference to me. Okay, it doesn't float my boat. None of this really matters. It's kind of a joke. All these people are arguing so vociferously about this. So what? So what? I mean, okay, evolution is true. If God used evolution to create the world, I'm good with that. Okay, that's above my pay grade. I don't have a problem with that. If that's what God wants to do, he did it. I'm not saying it wouldn't be interesting. It would be provocative. It would be really, really very, very interesting to understand that. I'm not saying it's trivial, but it's not a metaphysical driver for me. Okay, so what?
Right.
The problem is, what I am concerned about, and I am dug into, is the abuse of science. And I'm very concerned about the abuse of science. Science is abused. And it's a problem, in my view, that needs to be addressed, and people need to understand.
Or maybe he's just a twisted individual.
Well, and I think that's
who has his own little weird take on science.
Yeah. So he's worried about the same thing we're worried about, the abuse of science, which is what these two are doing. And he does it. I knew
a guy who worked as a security guard at a children's hospital way back in the 80s who thought engineering colleges were being abusive because they wouldn't accept his design for a special airplane engine that he was drawing.
Oh, yeah.
The state of engineering, it was all politics.
Yeah. Yep.
There's quite a few people with perpetual machine designs that really think science is in a bad way today too.
Yeah. But it's like these two, they know the real science, But all that 99% of biologists and molecular biologists out there that are doing all the research, whose work they cherry pick, they don't know that they're suffering from religion. And these two aren't. These two are just looking at the evidence.
Yeah.
That's what this is the bullshit that they're trying to put out. And
I think
it is just
my impression
mind-numbing.
My impression of Rebecca is that she knows she's just doing religion, but she's just trying to say, you are too science, like a tout fallacy, where you do it too, so therefore it makes it all right for me to do it.
Yeah, but they don't want to admit that they have this belief that God did it, so they got to figure out how God did it, and he's like, okay, so he says something about we have to admit that the theory of evolution is disproven because of snakes and things like that, and because we changed the phylogeny, so obviously the theory is wrong. And he keeps saying that over and over in this video, and but okay, so he says the theory of evolution is refuted. Let's think for a moment, what are we going to replace it with? What is the other theory? What is the counter theory that he's talking about? I don't know how he can deny that he's an intelligent designer, because there is no other counter to that, I don't think, that I can think of. Can you think of anything besides evolution that could have done this? Other than their God designer, the guy?
I don't know of any actual scientific theories out there about it.
I don't know of any other. I mean, I can't even imagine what that would be. So I don't know. Maybe they are gaslighting themselves. Who's Bill?
Well, on that one Dr. Dan video, creation myths. He shows a clip of Hunter quoting from the first 2 chapters of Genesis.
Yeah.
So
and he keeps denying it.
He's an idea.
And he's so smart. I mean, he's just so brilliant. He's just got all this shit figured out. Oh, and he goes off on consciousness, and he cherry picks a bunch of quotes from various people talking about consciousness, and that's his other V, his vision. Basically that vision. The vision can't be mechanical. Perception can't be mechanical. So that's his other V. So viruses disprove evolution, and consciousness disproves naturalism. So we got to get rid of this religion and naturalism, and we got to accept that there's something else here, that's happening to us. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know where else to go with that. So I did put the link out there, guys, and it is pinned if anybody wants to stop in and yell.
Who wants to come in and talk?
Or maybe help me out. I need a counselor. I sent another message. I'm trying to get some insurance coverage for some counseling, because I mean I'm really in a bad place, man. I gotta figure this shit out. I asked Simos has a live stream on his channel, or his friends do, and I asked where Simos was, and they told me something strange, and they told me to refer back to the beginning of the video. Anyway, there was one theory that Simos was in a prison in South America, and they said no, he's building a hospital in Africa, and they're going to send a car to get him. So that's where Simos is.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. Do you?
Hello, Robin Webster.
Any of those things?
Hello.
Yeah. Hey.
Y'all rang. Y'all wanted some help.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah,
here.
we want help. We need help.
I think these people know. I think these people know in their hearts, like what they say they write on our hearts. I think they know in their hearts that their God is like his little spot of existence is like narrowed down to nothing. Hardly. They're just gaslighting. They're gaslighting themselves, and
he's
everybody
been demoted to helping people find parking spaces and lost keys.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
like, there's no spot for him in creation. That like they claim this creation. There's no spot for him in that.
Yeah,
But they want
thing
to
is-
continue to fool people into believing that stuff though, because they don't want their religion to die.
I think they fooled themselves. Like, they think they understand the science, and the science points to God because they have nothing else in their lives or in history that points to God. So we always ask them, what is your evidence for God? Why do you believe in it? Right? And someone will say, oh, the Bible, the Word of God, which is kind of like self-defeating, right?
Yes.
So they got to have something. They got to have some evidence for God. So the only evidence they have is to deny science, or to somehow twist science so that it says that there is a God, because they got nothing else. God never shows up. God doesn't
Yep.
show up at the cancer ward. God doesn't show up when you stub your toe.
Amputees.
God never
Yeah,
shows
if you need,
Huh?
yeah, you got an amputation.
Yep. None of that. He just never shows up. And so they got nothing. And that's the crazy part. I mean, these young earth creationists are absolutely obsessed with science coming to their aid to prove God, because they know that everything else is failed. They have nothing else. They can say, oh, I feel the spirit inside my balls or something, or whatever the fuck they feel, the spirit. I don't know. I guess maybe they need maybe they don't use balls. Maybe they use, like inside my heart, right? Or whatever. But, it's like, yeah, I feel all kinds of things, inside my heart and balls too. It's just like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Anyway.
Well, it's just
Hey, Chris.
that. Hello. How
Hey.
you guys doing?
We're not doing well. We're lamenting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know exactly if I can add anything to that, but it's the thing is that religion, organized religion, and church, and all of that is dependent upon the parish, which is essentially participation within the group, and if there's no participation, it dies basically. And the fact is it's just that people people in my generation and younger just look at that and saying, what a petty way to backwalk, or just try to add stuff in just for stuff that makes sense, I guess. And
Yeah.
Post hoc rationalization. They're taking
post-hoc,
science. Yeah, is that what you trying? That's Joe's favorite term. He's like,
post hoc rationalization, but still. And as for me, it's not. It doesn't really matter. So, yeah.
I bet the collection plates are looking a little weaker, and when they do, when they don't quite collect enough money, they worry about the youth leaving the church, and this whole young earth creationist movement. They talk about that all the time. What can we do to our kids to keep them away from those evil evolutionists? It's like,
yes.
Because that's one of the ways they're losing them.
They would rather. I feel like they would rather lie to their children, or keep their children from learning the truth about the natural world than to give up the religion. And how selfish is that?
Yeah.
Well,
it's
just that in my mind, it's like, would I spend my time evangelizing quote unquote tradition, or would spend my time not proselytizing, but just teach science and stuff like that, all disciplines. I think it's much more of a worthy cause, in my mind, to do that than just to basically just quote unquote teach tradition, even though
Yeah. Well,
you know.
I got a
Yeah.
better idea. Why don't they teach them to not beat up other kids and teach them values, right? Without
So
religion.
not to elect sexual predators.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teach them about that, and and then and a little science too would be good for the kids. But they can teach them a whole lot of stuff. They can teach them not to, like, when the boys turn 13, they could teach them not to be controlling in relationships, not to manipulate women, and to teach them what's going to happen to them when they get a crush. And there's a whole bunch of things they could be teaching their kids besides this bullshit.
Yeah, but
Besides evolutionists.
yeah, but there's also the fact that I would say essentially like the brain rot of education bad syndrome essentially is essentially like ever since 1969, I would say it's been that way, and hell, it's been and even before that, it's just basically it's like baked into the system because of American exceptionalism, and for some reason it just kind of rears up its ugly head every single time in every era, and it's like like I can't.
Uneducated people are easier to fool and control.
Yeah,
I guess, but it's just it's like what I'm saying is that like I said, as a Canadian, it's just like common sense that usually for most people that throughout the arc of your life, essentially getting a high school degree, a high school diploma is essential to life. To a certain degree, when within the bounds of your lifetime, you kind of have to go to college at one point or another. Not need to go to right away. Don't need to go to university. But you need to go, to school for something to go to that. And for the most part, that's what the social contract is, anyway. And so, but that's just me. So
not just you. There are more of us. Anyway,
yeah.
But this YouTube onslaught is something that's really kind of hard to keep up with these days.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, it's it's in every field, in everything. There's just this onslaught, but there's good stuff out there too, right? So I wouldn't want it to go away. But goddamn, it's just like everybody and their brother is putting their opinion out in front of us now, right? It's like, I don't know how that's going to turn out.
They don't present it as opinion either. A lot of times they present
it.
But you could you could make a video on anything, and make claims, and people who lack critical thinking will fall for it every time.
Yeah.
Even people who actually practice critical thinking will sometimes fall prey for some of these if they don't go ahead and check it out good.
Well,
yeah,
it's like there's again with the social contract thing, is that the anyhow, just like observations in Canada, it's also that like proselytizing to a religion, your religion, like religion is considered for the most part a very private matter, and essentially putting it on speaker blast in the middle of the public square is very frowned upon, or at least when that's how it used to be, pretty much.
Yeah,
because it's like we want see the good news, and like I kind of see like because when I was a kid, I basically would go down in Florida and basically just get the whole evangelical juice for about, I don't know, 2 weeks, and it's like on a contrast where everybody just kind of not stick to their lane, but it's like, just like believe what you believe, but it's just don't shoot it, like you don't scream it to the rooftops, and and that would be basically in a way Mormonism and Jehovah Witness, because they're late in the game. But it was basically just like, those like two factions kind of sticking out, and we kind of, well, from my little hometown of 10,000, we basically just kind of ignore them for most of the time. And it's just, so I don't know.
So James, I put your video. James posted a video. Best Second Life: Why humans believe lies even when proven wrong. Psychology's darkest discovery. I put that in the description. And also Dave is here, Captain Destiny. Happy to see you awake for a change. I shouldn't give him too much shit because he's undergoing a lot of therapy right now. So anyway. Yep. Not giving you shit, Dave. Go take a nap. It's okay. I just took one. So what else? Okay. Bioelectric fields and Michael Levin's bullshit. And Dennis, do you guys know Dennis Noble and Michael Levin? Have you heard their bullshit? Okay. Yeah, you don't run with that crowd. It's the kind of bullshit that we're going to see from these creationists. Rebecca posted stuff about Dennis Noble, and so is Cornelius Hunter and all these guys. And they use these real great scientists who have somehow come into the limelight, and they're fighting with other scientists about how special DNA is. Like, how special is DNA? I mean, are we going to say that, it's all DNA or it's not all DNA? It's like, who gives a fuck? Let's figure out what the science is.
Well, technically it's an appeal to I'm a special snowflake. So, as in human, like we're special snowflakes. And it's like, pretty much that's it.
Yeah.
It's like I tuned out of Rebecca's like spiels and stuff like that because there's no, like, it's like for the past year or so, I've basically just kind of like sent her like consequences of like Roe v. Wade stories and stuff like that, like via email, and just like every time, and she basically just like, that doesn't apply, and I still do it, but it's like, basically because she has nothing to, she can't, defend her position on the fallout of that, issue. She just like, she just goes cold turkey. And that's pretty much almost like any theist interlocutors that I've encountered over the years. Eventually they'll just stop talking to me because it's either that I make too much, like I use too much common sense to them and stuff like that, or I just like I'm not talking their type of language, like per se, as in Bible quotes and stuff like that, because that's not how, like I don't waste my time with like reading the Bible. I know the cliff notes, but still, like I don't whip up a Bible verse and just like saying, you were wrong like this. No, I just use common sense. Anyway, sorry for my.
Rebecca has an open house at least once a week where she invites evidence for evolution, and then people come in and they dump evidence for evolution at her feet for 2 or 3 hours, and then she says, but I don't have any evidence for evolution at the end of it. It's like if she had an open house and she invited people to bring her cookies, and people just kept dumping dump trucks loads full of cookies in her yard, and then she kept saying, "But I don't have any cookies." She keeps. That's Rebecca. That is Rebecca in a nutshell. She has
Yeah.
no
That-
cookies.
That is
Yeah.
gaslighting.
Yeah, well,
What's that?
ooh, yeah.
Yep.
But I guess I'll take the wins whenever it's possible. I guess, like considering all of us when we used to roam her airwaves, like she was more to the right of us, I guess, and now she's like turning on the new leaf on certain
Yeah.
issues. But hey, that's like in the overarching thing, she's still like way off to where like for some people to post to out to the world, it's like you wish that it would be like better, but that's how humans beings are, I guess. So
Yep. I don't know.
Well, thank you for
You know-
the Roe v. Wade stories, though. I might check your channel out because
no, I don't
To me-
I don't send it's not like I don't my channel is not I'm not an active channel. What would
okay.
happen was that I basically would essentially send her like stories to like
okay.
from Axios, all those stuff about about where like all the 99 things that are happening in Texas, where basically you're playing Russian roulette with women.
Yep.
And yeah, it's like even if I'm as a man, like I cannot just abide by that by those, but that's
Yeah, convincing people that women are people too seems to be really hard these days. Sometimes, some of them.
yeah, or
Oh my
or
God.
or just like the
That's the other crazy
sorry.
group. The Jim Bob incels that are going off
Oh.
about feminism, and oh my God, they just drive me
Well-
nuts.
What about? I mean, Andrew's wife. His own wife is like one of the ones that debates it, like against feminism. She wrote a book.
Yeah.
Andrew who?
Andrew Wilson.
Is that his name? Is it Wilson?
Yep,
okay.
Andrew Wilson.
Anyway.
Her name's Rachel.
Oh my God, these people are.
Okay, I got Doug Wilson, but hey, it's like copy paste, like shit.
But look up Andrew Wilson. Like Andrew Wilson, he was on. There's a guy
There's
named
got to be it.
Fugelsang is a guy who wrote a book. He's a Christian. He wrote a book that's called "Separation of Church and Hate," and they were on Piers Morgan recently. Him and Andrew debating, and like he destroyed Andrew because he was like, name one Christian principle that MAGA supports or whatever. It's just like so.
The separation of church and hate.
Separation of church
That
and
sounds
hate.
like
And I've had a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
I've had a bumper sticker on my car for 10 years now that says that. I'm for the separation of church and hate. All the church people
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. I was thinking if the Christians got their way and they took over our government and they made us all, atheism illegal and all that, and they just had Christians in Congress, right? How many different parties would there be in Congress? The Lutherans and the Catholics and the what the hell is it called? The tri thing, the three gods in one, whatever.
Triune,
That shit.
triune, Trinity,
What is that?
triune.
What is
It's
that,
a
Scott?
triune God.
Something like that. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, there'd just be all this infighting going on, and we'd probably have civil war like erupting between about 50 different factions. Yeah, it would be
It's almost
just
like
hell.
our founders. It's almost like our founders were witnessing that on U.S. soil when they wrote the Constitution, and
Yeah.
took-
Yeah.
and purposely like took it out of government because of that very thing.
Yeah.
Not saying that. Not saying that. Well, it's the fact is that the founders. Well, it's not. They're not really my founders, but potato, potato. It's like they were human but flawed at the same time. So it's like you just kind of like gotta go with the overarching theme of what the Constitution would like when you're trying to interpret those things. But it's like at some point there's so much of like the letter of the law that you can go through and not just like go through the spirit of the law. I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but
Yeah.
So it's like it's not like we could kind of go through time each and every time and go like ask dead people like their opinions on stuff.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
I feel that they're more like, especially like conservatives are so enamored with the what does the Constitution say, as in the intent of the founding fathers. Like it's like the Constitution is essentially like an idol to them
Yeah,
in a
well,
certain.
but it's not though, because they're absolutely do not care about it. Like they're absolutely like
No, they don't care about it.
ignoring due process. They're ignoring, the separation of church and state. And then not everybody says that didn't show up in the Constitution. No, but like if you read James Madison's writings or John Adams' writings, they're very clear that that was the intent of the First Amendment. So, like they twist it. They're actually misrepresenting what the founders thought. Actually, is what they're doing.
Yeah, but it's just like the reason like why I think in a way like in Canada is that essentially our first of all the like our Constitution technically derives from the British North America Act mostly, but then it's been added on since by the essentially the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And even though it looks like a mess in a way, it's like because it's like it's basically post typewriter, post like TV, like the advent of TV, radio, and all that stuff. There's not really much like up to floating up into the air to the interpretation, but that's just probably me just shooting like pissing at the wind on this stuff. But what I'm saying is that since like roughly technically like the Constitution technically was ratified like ratified as in separated from the British North American Act is 1982. So that's how you get all the like recent. What I'm saying is that it's because it's recent history. There's of less subject of interpretation and imagination to muddy the waters. That's what I mean. Anyway,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the thing that I love the most about the U.S. Constitution is the part about basically separating our individual beliefs, speech, and homes from government control. Basically, the government cannot cross my doorstep except to ask me for some money occasionally, and that's about it. But they cannot. And of course they can cross my doorstep if I'm axe murdering the family, but that's just you're not
Not if they
neither here
don't.
nor there.
Well, You're talking about if you're in the midst of it, or if they have an arrest warrant.
If I'm in the midst of it, right? If I'm in the midst of it,
that might be true.
they can.
If they don't have
Yeah,
a warrant,
then
they
they
can't come in.
Right. Otherwise, they can't come in. I mean, like, yeah. Anyway,
Hot pursuit, exigent circumstances, and community safety.
Yeah.
Or community community care, I think is what it's called. But that has to be if there's really something up.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah.
I will derail any conversation away from genetics to Constitution anytime.
You know, it just so happens I have some opinions about Constitution.
That's my thing.
Do ya?
That's my thing. You know, like that's my thing. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the whole thing about not crossing your doorstep, I think is kind of a big thing, and somehow that got all fucked up, and from 1970 on, and somehow the Republicans completely flip-flopped on that one, because they used to be really strong about that, and now they want to get into they want to get into the women's wombs. They want to they want to see what's inside the condom. They want to they want to control the drugs.
Our bedrooms.
Yeah.
Well, in Texas, there's this one cop who used those flock camera systems to basically follow a woman out of state via camera, to see if she was going to get an abortion.
Yeah.
That's some
We
real
have those.
Republican
We have those
shit right
flock cameras. We have those flock cameras here, and they stopped a woman one day in my little bitty old town now, and got her out of the car. She had 2 kids in the car, and they had her on the ground and everything, and the flock camera had said read her license plate wrong or something. Anyway, they thought she had a stolen car, and it wasn't even a stolen car.
Yeah.
And these poor 2 little kids were in the car with her. You know what I mean? And they grabbed this woman out and put her on the ground and accused her of stealing his car, and it was none of it was actually true.
Yeah, in Minnesota, they shot a guy to death while his little girl was in the back seat. And he, I think he had a weapon, but he was trying to tell him that he had a permit or something, and they just freaked the fuck out. And it's just shit like that, and it's just like, oh my god, over and over. Fortunately, we have a new law here that they can't pull you over for bullshit like tail lights and little tiny traffic violations, so they can't pull you over anymore. So they're really butthurt about this, the cops.
Yeah,
really pisses them off that they can't pull you over for any reason.
What's the term? Exploratory
investigative detention.
Well, what I mean is that it's like investigating a crime in progress under like minor like offenses or charges, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Anyhow, it's just the goal is to find a bigger crime, but using like a minor crime to put a wedge on the door. So
right. Anyway. Yeah, they were always happy about that, because when they're bored and they have nothing else to do, they could always pull over somebody. And in my town, I saw Bloomington, Minnesota. They would frequently have somebody pulled over, and you could always tell if it was a person of color, because they would have 4 cop cars pulled them over, whereas a white guy, they'd only have 1 cop car. And I saw that over and over again. And it really started to piss me off. But I don't see it as often anymore now that they have that new law. They're not pulling over as many people, so I don't know. Maybe it got better. Who knows? Oh, let's see. I need an organelle. So Scientific Origin said that, is this the place to come for therapy? No, we're the ones that need therapy. We're hoping for somebody to come and help us out. So we are the inmates.
What's the
We're not the doctors.
Pink slop, like in therapy because of pink slop or something like that.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not sure where you're going with that one.
I'm saying like there's too much junk food, and we essentially need to cleanse.
Oh, yeah.
Detox.
I need to quit.
Detox. Is that what you're talking about? Detox. Yeah.
Detox. Yeah.
Detox. Oh, we need a
There's
detox. I thought you said pig slop.
No,
There's
pink.
not-
Yes, pink slop, as in junk food. Well, it's like a metaphor
Oh.
for like
Okay.
like prefab fat hamburgers. But the idea is like to use it as a euphemism to say like just like bullshit news or something like that. And you need to detox. So yeah.
I need a detox from Thanksgiving.
Anything that says detox on it, you can almost bet that it's got pseudoscience involved in it.
Yeah. Oh, I need to detox my Thanksgiving dinner. I had 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yep,
You just
I'm
need
gonna die.
You just need to take a dump.
I need some goddamn thing. I don't know what it is.
Anyway,
But at least you had plenty of family and food for Thanksgiving. That's,
I did.
That's good.
Family and friends. It was wonderful. We had a wonderful time. Then we watched Naked Gun on Sunday night.
The one with Liam Neeson?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to respond to that movie at all. I'm glad I watched it and got it over with, but it was, I don't know. I laughed out loud a couple times, and there was a whole. I mean, they had so many jokes embedded in that thing that it was all over the place. So I don't know if I'd recommend it or not. I'm not sure. I'm really undecided.
You just
I
have
feel
to
the
wait
same
an appropriate
way
amount
about.
of time and rewatch it.
I feel the same way about it as I feel about all that fucking turkey and stuffing I ate. I'm not sure if I could recommend it or not, but I'm kind of glad I ate it. But I don't think you guys should. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway. I was gonna, I like to do science on this channel once in a while.
Yeah,
But,
I know. That's what I said. I would
today's
be
not
really
good.
dumb.
by the way,
People get so fucking bored.
speaking about science, how is the conversation with C. Brown? I think.
Yeah, we left it. Okay, the last time I was trying to draw him down into one area, and we did that in the beginning on junk DNA, and then he galloped away from me, and I let him gallop, and I followed his breadcrumbs, and we ended up in another conversation. But I want to do another conversation because I really like him, and the guy he's a little different than Rebecca in that he actually listens and reads. And I just think, I don't know. I think it's worth having more conversations with him. And our conversations are very friendly. And I don't want to have anybody, I don't want to gang up on the guy or anything. I just want to find out why he thinks what he thinks.
Sure.
And the idea is to draw down to junk DNA in introns, if you know what those are, because that is the point. That is the place where DNA, it doesn't matter what the sequence is. So we call it junk, and they call it God designed every little piece that way. And so I want to drill into that. So
from my bootleg understanding of junk DNA is that it's essentially like the reason why you call it junk DNA is that it's just like the filler until it's basically because it's like we are more like we know more of the like when genetics goes wrong type of thing. So that's why we kind of like call the rest junk DNA because it's like act as normal. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. So like because of all the deficiency disorders and all the like disease and even problematic stuff, congenital conditions and even disabilities, like physical or mental. It's it's just basically because we have more markers on those when things go wrong than when things go right. So that's why. Anyhow, sorry if I.
Yeah. Yeah, my whole thing is okay, God, if God designs a big long strand or a strand of DNA, okay, and there's something on this DNA that's really, really important, like these little parts right here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So God needs these parts to create the human being, to create the brain and all that stuff. And but it's an imperfect system. I don't know, because of the fall or whatever the fuck. I'm not sure what their excuse is for that, but anyway, so the thing is, if you're going to be shooting bullets at this DNA, okay, if you have a lot of junk DNA in between, those bullets are very unlikely to hit something important, like the blue part, right? So my question for them is, why wouldn't God put a lot of DNA in there that didn't matter? Because it keeps us kind of safe from a lot of mutations while we're alive, so we can live for 100 years, because you got mutations happening every time your cells divide to a certain extent. And it doesn't usually matter because they're not hitting the blue parts here. So anyway, that sounds like God. That sounds like a really good design from God. So why did God not create junk DNA? Is kind of where I want to get Steve Brown to come to. I want to ask him that, because what's that?
It's kind of like camouflage.
Yeah, or spreading out. Like, hey guys, spread out so that they can't hit us, right?
Well, like you can go through I'm not as intelligent as you are, Mike, but
I don't
you could
think
go through
I've
the
never been What did you accuse me of?
I said that I'm not as smart as you.
That sounds like an accusation, but I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what I said is that as I said, you could probably course correct by implying all the when DNA results in wrong stuff. Like I said, immunodeficiency disorder, there's the deformations, disabilities, and all that jazz. And then you can probably steer back into the conversation, as in why we know so much of the what goes wrong, and use that as a platform to explain what junk DNA is. Anyway, actually, yeah.
The other really important thing that God designed is death. Because if it does hit one of these blue parts right here, the cell dies. And it doesn't reproduce anymore, unless you get cancer. So cancer is a mutation that doesn't die, basically. But most of the time, when you get a mutation in the blue part, the important part, your cell will die.
Yeah,
cancer is a special case.
Yeah, but at this point, anyway, we would basically all look like Deadpool. So essentially, if there's a reason why we essentially cells, from what I understand, the cells needs to die, because at some point we would look like we would look like Deadpool.
Yeah,
even worse. Right. So
yeah. I'm starting to look a little bit like that. Actually,
there's a few of us that have already achieved that sort of look.
Yeah, I've achieved that. Yeah, I'm going to be 3/4 of a century old on January 7th. So
nice.
3/4 of a century.
That's an achievement.
It is. Particularly when I was 24, you would not find a single person that knew me that would have bet that I would live till I was 25.
Yeah, I know that feeling. My
Not
brother-in-law
one person would have taken that bet.
My brother-in-law is disabled too, and we both have become disabled in like the last 2 years. He said, "Did you ever think we would be on disability at our age?"
Yeah.
I said, "I didn't think I would live this long." That's what I told him.
No. No, I thought that every month. It's like, I'm not going to make it another month. It keeps happening.
Yeah, well, as somebody that's been like disabled all his life, it's not like I don't have illusions that I'll. It's like even if it's like, say, I kind of assume that I'll probably be within my generation's family. I'll be one of the first people to go. And I don't know when.
You never know, though.
Well, I never know.
Depends on how those. Yeah.
So
depends on how those cells divide. Depends on what happens. So kind of interesting.
Whatever God's plan is.
Whatever God's plan is,
yeah, I guess, but still, it's.
I use that all the time in AA meetings. I talk about God's will and God's plan, and what I mean is whatever the fuck the universe is going to throw at us. You never know. Could throw a bus at me tomorrow. It's just like it's all part of God's plan, right? It's just great. It's fine.
At first, when you use that kind of language, I was kind of like, why? But then when you talked about, when I found out, when you told the story about your AA, then that made more sense to me.
Yeah. God is basically, I am, everything else in the universe besides me and my little plan. That's God. So that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Well, and also just another thing is that I don't see why theists are so hung up on the interpretation of a personalized God and stuff like that, and just like not like at this point, I'm just kind of like wondering why has like the universe's God like shift, is it because we're still on this like rock we call Earth and we hadn't even quote unquote broke the sandbox yet or something like that? And because if we were a spheric species at this point, the like how I see things is that basically if you talk about worship, you like or religion or whatever, it would basically skew more towards like a Buddhist like interpretation or a universalist or whatever vague spiritual sense, because do you think Jesus is gonna return when we're gonna be in space? Probably not, but that's just me.
Well, God created this vast universe with all these billions of other galaxies, but all he's worried about this one little rock.
Yep.
This little third rock from the sun, this one particular star.
Yeah.
That's the.
If your daddy was a trillionaire, and he loved you very much, and he had a personal relationship with you, and you were going to a party, you wouldn't worry so much if you had this daddy, watching over you, right? And so it's that's Christianity, basically. It's like this personal bullshit. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Well, although I do understand,
and look around.
Although I do understand why Protestantism interprets like a personalized God in a way, because it kind of bounces off like the idea of a printing press, and the effects of a printing press, and it's like by the ability of the population being able to read and having their own interpretation of it as a consequence. So
it just so happens Protestantism kind of fell in line with printing press, sort of.
Yeah, and I basically kind of told this on another channel that essentially this is what Islam is going through, although at lightning speeds with the internet, because if anything, like drastic consequences of the war on terror. It's that essentially it put Islam on the map for everybody else to do it. And even like, I think I kind of like wrote, well, it's not saying I think, I actually read the Osama bin Laden's letter, and I just basically like, dude, you want to be like this like proselytized figure. You just like doom Islam because you put it out for the world. And it's like the it's just because right now the infrastructure of the internet in the Middle East has been established, and it's just through like plain old Wi-Fi and all that stuff, because of 20 years of, like, I don't say that it's a good thing, but American occupation and NATO. But but because of this, like, the genie's out of the bottle. So
Yeah. I don't know. I think overall the internet has got to be a good thing because we're all communicating now. We're all talking, and all these ideas are floating around. And I think it's going to turn out okay at some point, but I don't know.
agree.
So far, not looking good in the U.S. for at least since last year. But I think this is just a blip. I don't know.
It's looking better. I mean, I know now we're in the midst. We've got, this is the way I look at it. We've got nowhere to go but up right now.
Yeah. Well, they just found that Hegseth war crime thing, and that's going to fucking turn into something. And the Republicans are like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
So the Republicans
but they don't need to act like though that they don't need to act like that though, because they've been killing these people. Like,
I know.
I mean, I've been just bitching about this all along, and the only person, my senator, who I never ever, I live in Kentucky, I never ever get to praise any of my elected officials. But Rand Paul has actually been like on the right side of like 3 or 4 things, like sort of like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know if it just so happened that it wound up.
I know.
And and so like Rand Paul has been really fussing about that, and I've been fussing about that the whole time, and now they want to make, but he should have been allowed to do it anyway. I mean, like, and then he turns around and pardons a drug dealer who brought like 400 tons of cocaine into America, but he claims that he's killing these people because they're drug dealers when they can't even, their boats won't even carry enough gas to get them to America. And they've let him do it.
Just like,
they've let him do it. The Republican senators have let him do this, and now they realize though that they see everything's coming together. Though everything's falling in, the House of Cards is falling in, and they know that people are going to get punished in elections or maybe even trials for being part of this, and they want out. They want to act like they,
Yeah. Why in the hell don't we know the names or the stories behind any one of those people that were killed on those boats? Why in the fuck is that such a... What's going on?
I don't know. But like there was 2 survivors before, and they actually did not kill them. And they picked them up and brought them in and questioned them and everything. And they were turned back over to the country they were come from without any charges.
Okay.
We killed everybody else in the boat, but the 2 that we captured, and so they just quit capturing them. They just decided we'll just go ahead and just kill them all. But I mean, like, we knew, and they can't act like they didn't know this. They can't act like they didn't expect this. I mean, like, I'm sorry, ignorance is not an excuse.
Yeah. And isn't there some other way that we can stop boats besides blowing them the fuck up?
Yeah, we used to always just stop them anyway. Just stop them. I mean, like the Coast Guard would pull them over, and go on the boat. But I mean, we can't even, like, these we're doing it so far away from our waters that we can't even say that we can guarantee that they're coming to America because they can't get there on the
I
gas
know.
that they have. Where they have a gas station on the way. Like where do they stop and fuel at? On like where's the fuel island? It's just
Drug Dealers R Us has a gas station in the middle of the Atlantic there.
yeah, and we don't give people like death sentences for drug dealing anyway.
I know. Yeah. Well, they'd like to, I think.
Well, Trump is. This is the second. Like Trump, when Trump took office, he pardoned the Silk Road guy. Okay, who actually was convicted, and he actually was convicted on the fact that there were deaths that was linked to his online selling of drugs. Because he had that big online drug thing.
I need to go now. I have to go get something from Jacob's house. So
I've got a what?
Bow out.
Goodbye, Scott. Okay, well,
Goodbye, Robin and Chris. Thanks for joining us up here on the panel. And
I'm sorry we didn't talk no evolution.
Well,
yeah, well, okay.
Either subject is fine right now, but I will try to listen to y'all while I'm out on the road. I
want to thank you, Scott. Your friend is having an existential crisis there, and you were grocery shopping, and now you but that's okay.
Well, that's what happens when you don't plan things with me ahead of time.
I'm good.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
I don't want you to feel guilty.
Okay, don't worry, I won't.
Are you having an existential crisis, Mike?
There you go, Robin.
I am today. Yeah, I am today. I had I ended up going in 15 different directions that I didn't want to go in because I fucking started watching these videos from these creationist nonsense bullshit and even people that aren't creationists like Michael Levin, and he's like talking nonsense, and I'm like, yeah, I'm having a crisis.
Maybe you should limit that to a certain maximum amount daily.
I should. Yeah, that's a good idea. Never thought of that. I think
on younger creationism.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy my son a tranquilizer gun so he can just fucking shoot me when I just nail me with a tranquilizer at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll be fine. I'll be good for the rest of the day. Yep. Yeah, hell, I don't know. Anyway, but I thought I'd get on and rant a little bit about Dennis Nobelism, I call it. There's a certain group of scientists that are pushing back against other scientists, and they're becoming popular on YouTube, and they're starting to speak this weird lingo that the creationists are just drooling over and lapping up. And that was kind of what brought this all on.
Gutsy Gibbon does Dennis Noble stuff too, right? That doesn't Gutsy Gibbon? Doesn't Erica do Dennis Noble stuff too? Or
I know Dr. Dan. Yeah, Dr. Dan has, and I think Erica probably. I'm not sure if Erica has or not. But Dr. Dan Stern Creation Myths, he did it. So
yeah, I think I've heard Erica mention that name, and maybe even Professor Dave.
Yeah, Professor Dave has gone after Noble. And the thing is that I have a lot of respect for Dennis Noble and Michael Levin and their work. And they have some really important ideas, but the way they're being presented on the internet sounds just stupid. I mean, it has nothing to do with the real ideas that they're coming up with that are changing the way we look at biology and evolution. I mean, this revolution is ongoing, this whole extended evolution thing. And they were forerunners in that field. And then they get on the fucking internet and start blabbing, and it just comes out all wrong. It's just wrong.
Well, is what they're talking about like specifically to their field, or are they talking outside of their field, sort of?
When they get on the internet, they start talking metaphysics basically, and they kind of get it. Their language gets them outside of their field, but Dennis Noble particularly, and this Michael Levin guy did it with the bioelectric fields, where he started talking about cells have this intelligence and they remember things and all that. And there is a scientific way of looking at the physicality of what he's saying But he's just spewing this garbage on the internet, and people are going to fucking listen to the garbage. They're not going to see what a bioelectric field really does to a cell, you know? I mean, every cell in your body has to be in a bioelectric field. That's how cells work. It's like, fuck. We knew that, right?
It's like
it's
they're
like all
giving
this
way
stuff,
too many lay people way too much like nuanced evidence and presenting it in a way that's sort of mystical sounding.
Yeah, make it sound mystical, and they'll just be all over it. It's just incredible. I don't know.
Money.
Anyway,
that's where I think.
Yep.
Money.
Oh shit! It's 5 o'clock. I gotta get out of here, guys. I got a meeting coming up. So
yes.
Anyway, well, thank you too for stopping in. I love company.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I needed help today. This has been therapeutic. What's that?
But good.
Okay, you got anybody have anything they want to plug before we leave?
No, oh yeah, I do. Joe and I will be doing our politicality on probably, I guess, Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay. Politicality, eh?
On the
Man,
Kentucky
I might be up
Atheist.
for that.
On the Kentucky Atheist.
Yeah, okay.
Nah,
do we have a link?
I got nothing.
Can we put a You got a link? You got
I
nothing?
don't have a link. I'm on my phone right now, Mike, so I can't like drag
Oh, okay.
it. But
okay, I'll go ahead.
Yeah,
everybody knows Kentucky Atheist. He's doing really well. So
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get out of here. So
right.
Thank you everyone out in chat, and thank you too for stopping in and trying to talk me down off the ledge.
Anytime.
We'll let you know tomorrow morning how it worked out, whether or not I stayed off the ledge or not. But anyway, okay. Goodbye, crew world. We're leaving. And